Chapter 1. The Night Shift. My name's Lydia, 29, and I work the night shift at a textile warehouse on the outskirts of Erie, Pennsylvania. It's 1987, and this place is a relic. Sagging brick walls, cracked windows letting in drafts, and a faint smell of mildew that never leaves. The warehouse sits at the end of a gravel road, next to a rail yard where trains rumble past at odd hours, their horns cutting through the quiet. I've been here 3 years, watching over bolts of fabric, outdated machinery, and crates nobody's claimed in decades. The job's simple. Lock the doors at 10 p.m., check the aisles every couple of hours, make sure nothing's out of place. The overhead lights buzz, some flickering, some dead. The office has a coffee maker that burns the pot if you leave it on too long, and a radio that only picks up static unless you angle it just right. I don't mind the solitude. After my mom passed last year, I moved back to Erie from Pittsburgh, needing something steady. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment, nothing fancy, just mine. The nights are long, but they're predictable. Most of the time, it's just me, the hum of the lights, and the occasional mouse skittering across the concrete. Last Tuesday, around midnight, I was flipping through the logbook when I noticed something odd. Aisle 7, Unit 42, marked as restricted in faded ink. No explanation. I'd walked past it hundreds of times, never thought twice. It's just a metal door, rusted at the edges, with a padlock heavier than it needs to be. I shrugged it off, figured it was some old inventory nobody bothered to clear out. Just another night. Chapter 2. The first crack. The warehouse is a maze of aisles, each lined with shelves stacked high with fabric rolls and wooden crates. Aisle 7 is in the back, near a loading dock that hasn't been used since the 70s. Unit 42 is tucked at the end, its door half hidden by a tarp that's been there so long it's stiff with dust. Wednesday night. I was doing my rounds, flashlight in hand, when I heard a sound from aisle 7, a low scrape, like metal dragging on concrete. I stopped, listened. Nothing but the hum of the lights. I walked toward Unit 42, more out of habit than anything else. The padlock was there, same as always, but the chain looked wrong, slack, like it had been stretched. I ran my fingers over it, felt fresh scratches in the metal, sharp enough to catch my skin. Nobody comes back here. The day crew doesn't touch aisle 7. They stick to the front, processing shipments. I checked the logbook later, found no record of anyone accessing 42. Not in months, not in years. The only note was that same restricted in the margin, written in a hand I didn't recognize that I told myself it was nothing. Old buildings settle. Chains slip. But when I walked away, the air felt heavier, like I'd stirred something by looking too long. Chapter 3. The warning. The next night, I mentioned Unit 42 to Ray, the only other night worker who's lasted more than a month. He's in his 50s, wiry, with a smoker's cough and a habit of chewing toothpicks. We were in the break room, a cramped space with a sagging couch and a vending machine that only spits out stale chips. I kept it casual, asked if he knew anything about 42. He stopped mid-chew, toothpick frozen in his mouth. "Don't mess with that one," he said, voice low. "Just leave it be." "Why?" I asked, half laughing, expecting a story about some old manager's weird rules that he didn't laugh back. "Some things you don't ask about, Lydia. You lock the doors, you do your rounds, you go home. That's the job." I pressed, but he stood, grabbed his flashlight, and walked out. Later, I checked the records again. The filing cabinet in the office is a mess. Yellowed papers, coffee stains, leases from companies that went bankrupt before I was born. Unit 42 showed up in every ledger, always marked paid, in cash, no tenant name, no contact. Just a date, every month, going back to the 50s. I found a receipt from 1963, signed with a looping scrawl that didn't look like a name. The ink was red, smudged, like it hadn't dried right. Chapter 4. The pull. By Friday, I couldn't stop thinking about Unit 42. It wasn't just the chain or the records. It was the way the air changed near that door, colder, thicker, like stepping into a basement after rain. During my rounds, I found myself lingering in aisle 7, flashlight beam catching the dust motes swirling in front of 42. The scratches on the padlock were deeper now, gouged, like something had clawed at it. I hadn't touched it since Wednesday, but I swore the chain was looser, dangling like it was waiting for me to pull it. I started noticing other things. The overhead light in aisle 7 flickered, even after Ray swore he'd replaced the bulb. My watch would slow down when I passed 42, the second hand stuttering like it was caught in molasses. One night, I found myself standing there, staring at the door, not sure how long I'd been there. My flashlight was off, though I didn't remember turning it off. I shook it off, told myself it was the late hours, the lack of sleep. But when I got back to the office, I found a note slipped under the door. No envelope, just a torn scrap of paper. Leave 42 alone. No signature, handwriting jagged, like it was written in a hurry. Ray denied it was his, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. Chapter 5. The discovery. The weekend was quiet, just me and the warehouse. Ray called in sick, which wasn't like him. I dug deeper into the records, pulling out files from the 60s and 70s. Most were mundane, inventory lists, employee schedules, but Unit 42 stood out. A 1971 maintenance log mentioned unusual activity in aisle 7. Lights failing, tools missing, a crate that moved overnight. The note ended abruptly, no follow-up. Another log, from 1968, had a single line, 42 sealed. Do not inspect. The handwriting matched the red ink signature I'd found, and I found something else in a folder marked Closed Accounts. A lease for Unit 42, dated 1955, under the name E. Harrow. No first name, no address, just a phone number that, when I dialed it, connected to a disconnected line. The lease was renewed every year, always in cash, always without a tenant present. I checked the logbook for the current year, same deal, paid, marked in red ink, no other details. That night, during my rounds, I heard it again. The scrape, louder this time, coming from inside 42. I pressed my ear to the door, heart pounding. Something shuffled, slow, deliberate, like footsteps on gravel. I backed away, telling myself it was rats. But the sound wasn't right. Too heavy, too measured. Chapter 6. The breach. By Monday, I couldn't ignore it. The warehouse felt different, lights dimmer, air heavier, like the whole place was holding its breath. I brought a crowbar from the tool shed, telling myself I just wanted to check the lock, make sure it was secure. Ray was back, but he avoided aisle 7, sticking to the front of the warehouse. I didn't tell him what I was planning at 2 a.m. I stood in front of Unit 42. The padlock gleamed under my flashlight, the scratches now so deep they looked like they'd been carved with a knife. I wedged the crowbar under the chain, hesitated, then pulled. The metal snapped with a sound like a bone breaking. The door creaked open, just an inch, and a cold draft hit me, smelling of wet stone and something sharper, like burnt wire. Inside was nothing. Just a concrete box, empty except for a wooden stool in the center, facing the back wall. No crates, no fabric, no signs of life. But the dust on the floor was disturbed, swirled into faint spirals, like something had moved through it. I stepped inside, my boots echoing. The door wouldn't close behind me. The frame warped, metal bent outward like it had been pushed from the inside. Chapter 7. The ripples. The next night, things started going wrong. Other units in aisle 7 were unlocked, their padlocks dangling loose. I checked the cameras, nothing but static when they panned over aisle 7. Inside the units, I found oddities, a sewing machine humming softly, unplugged, a stack of fabric bolts arranged in a perfect circle, a mirror reflecting a corner of the room that didn't exist. Each unit felt paused, like someone had just stepped out and left everything waiting. I logged everything, took photos, but the Polaroids came out blurry, the images smudged like wet ink. Ray caught me in the office, saw the photos, and shook his head. You opened it, didn't you? I just checked the lock. I lied if he didn't buy it. You don't get it, Lydia. You don't open 42. You don't look at it. You don't think about it. Why? I snapped. What's in there? He walked out without answering. That night, I found footprints in the dust outside 42. Bare, too small to be mine or Ray's, leading toward the door, but not away. The smell was worse now, a mix of rot and metal clinging to my clothes. Chapter 8. The confrontation. By Thursday, management called. Not the usual site supervisor, but someone higher up, a woman with a clipped voice I didn't recognize. We've had reports of irregularities in aisle 7, she said. Explain. I told her about the unlocked units, the noises, leaving out 42. She cut me off. Stick to your rounds. Log what you're told to log. Nothing else. What about 42? I asked, testing. A pause. Then, there is no unit 42 in your logs. Understand. I understood. They knew. I hung up, my hands shaking. That night, I found a new note under the office door. Stop looking. The handwriting was the same jagged scrawl as before. I showed it to Ray. He crumpled it, threw it in the trash. Quit while you're ahead, Lydia, he said, his voice softer than usual. This place doesn't let go easy. I didn't quit. I couldn't. The warehouse felt alive now, watching me. During my rounds, I heard whispers, not words, just sounds, like air leaking from a tire. They came from aisle 7, always near 42. I started losing time, finding myself standing in front of the door, flashlight off, no memory of walking there. Chapter 9. The inheritance. A week later, Ray didn't show up. No call, no note, just gone. I found a keyring in the break room. Not his usual set. Older, heavier, with keys I didn't recognize. A note was taped to it. For the caretaker. The handwriting matched the warnings that I called management. Got no answer. The warehouse was mine now, whether I wanted it or not. I tried locking Unit 42 again, using a new padlock, reinforcing the frame with bolts. By morning, the lock was broken, the frame warped further, like something had pushed harder this time. Other units were opening faster now, doors ajar, lights flickering inside, objects moved. A crate in aisle 6 held a child's dress, pristine, but the fabric crumbled when I touched it. I found an old logbook in the back office, hidden behind a broken shelf. Pages were torn, but one entry stood out, dated 1955. Harrow left. 42 sealed. Do not disturb. Below it, a list of names, each marked caretaker, each crossed out. The last name was Ray's, added in fresh ink. Mine wasn't there. Yet. Chapter 10. The keeper. It's been a year since Ray left. I'm still here, the only one on the night shift. The warehouse hasn't changed. Same flickering lights, same mildew smell, but it's heavier now, like it's waiting. Unit 42 stays open, no matter how many locks I try. The other units follow, doors creaking open, objects shifting in the dark. I log them, close them, lock them, knowing they'll open again. The new hire showed up last week, a kid named Tim, quiet, too curious for his own good. I caught him staring at 42, running his fingers over the scratches. I told him the rule. Don't touch it, don't look at it, don't think about it. He nodded, but I saw the look in his eyes, the same one I had when I started. I'm tired now, bones aching in ways they shouldn't. The warehouse takes something from you, bit by bit. I don't know what's in 42, or what it's keeping out. I don't think it matters. The job is to keep the doors closed, to keep the rhythm going. Lock, log, move on. I do it because someone has to. Because if I don't, the doors won't just open, they'll stay that way. Last night, I found a new note under the office door. You're doing well, caretaker. The handwriting was mine, but I don't remember writing it. I keep the keys on my belt now, heavy, cold, a reminder of what I've inherited. I walk the aisles, check the locks, and wait. For what? I'm not sure. Maybe for Tim to take my place. Maybe for a door to open that I can't close. Our story ends here. And now let's move on to the conclusion. The weight of the keys. It's been 2 years since Tim showed up, and I'm still here, walking the aisles of the textile warehouse in Erie, Pennsylvania, the keys heavy on my belt. The warehouse hasn't changed much. Same sagging brick walls, same cracked windows letting in the damp night air. The smell of mildew lingers, sharper now, mixing with something else, something colder, like rust left to fester in standing water. The overhead lights still buzz, flickering in aisle 7, where Unit 42 sits, its door never fully closed, no matter how many times I lock it. I'm 31 now, but I feel older, my joints stiff, my eyes slow to adjust to the dark. The warehouse takes something from you, not all at once, but steadily, like a slow leak you don't notice until the tire's flat. Tim didn't last long. I knew he wouldn't. That look in his eyes, the way he lingered in front of 42, tracing the scratches on the padlock with his fingertips. It was the same look I had when I first noticed the chain was slack. I tried to warn him, told him the rule. Don't touch it, don't look at it, don't think about it. He nodded, said he understood, but I saw the curiosity burning behind his eyes, the same pull that got me. 2 weeks in, he was gone. No note, no call, just his flashlight left on the break room table. The beam pointed at the wall like he'd been interrupted mid-thought. The logbook had a new entry in his handwriting. Checked 42. Nothing there. I tore the page out, burned it in the metal trash can outside the office. The smoke smelled wrong, acrid, like it carried something from the warehouse itself that I didn't tell management. They wouldn't have cared. The phone call stopped a year ago, replaced by typed memos slipped under the office door, always the same. Maintain the locks. Log the rounds. Report nothing. I don't know who sends them. The return address is a P.O. box in Cleveland, but when I drove there once, on a day off, the box was empty, the post office clerk saying it hadn't been claimed in years. I stopped asking questions after that. Questions don't get answers here. They get notes, warnings, reminders to keep my head down. The warehouse is quieter now, but not in a good way. It's the kind of quiet that presses against your ears, like the air's waiting for something to break it. The doors still open on their own, not just in aisle 7, but in aisle 6, aisle 9, even the front units near the loading dock. They're never wide open, just ajar, an inch or two, enough to let the dust swirl in patterns that don't make sense, spirals, loops, shapes that look like they were drawn with purpose. I find things inside the units sometimes, a spool of thread unrolled across the floor, forming a grid, a pair of scissors balanced on their point, upright, like someone placed them there and walked away, a bolt of fabric folded into a shape too precise to be accidental. I log them, take photos, but the Polaroids come out wrong, blurry, smudged, the images bleeding into each other like ink left in the rain that I don't step inside the units anymore. Not after what happened with 42. I still see it in my head. The empty concrete box, the wooden stool facing the back wall, the dust swirled into spirals like something had paced in circles. I told myself it was nothing, just an old storage unit, but the door wouldn't close right after I opened it. The frame was warped, bent outward, like something had pushed against it for years, waiting for me to let it breathe. I tried new locks, industrial ones, heavy enough to stop a truck. They break every time, the metal twisting like it's been heated and bent by hand. I don't know what's doing it. I don't want to know. The new hires keep coming, one every few months. They're all the same, young, broke, looking for something to tide them over. I train them, show them the rounds, tell them the rules. I watch their eyes when we pass aisle 7, see the moment they notice 42. Some ask about it right away, others wait, but they all ask eventually. I give them the same answer Ray gave me. Leave it be. Most listen for a while. A few don't. They disappear, like Tim, like Ray, their names added to the logbook I found behind the broken shelf, the one with the list of caretakers. I check it sometimes, late at night, when the warehouse is quietest. My name's there now, written in red ink, not crossed out yet. I don't know who wrote it. I don't want to think about it. The warehouse doesn't feel like a building anymore. It's something else, something alive, or at least awake. The walls hum when I walk past, not loud, just enough to make my teeth ache. The air shifts in aisle 7, cold one moment, warm the next, like it's breathing with me. I hear things sometimes, not the scrape I heard before, but softer sounds, a whisper that isn't words, a tap like a finger against metal, a sigh that comes from nowhere. They're loudest near 42, but they've spread, creeping into other aisles, other units. I found a crate in aisle 9 last week, one I'd never seen before, filled with buttons, hundreds of them, all different, some bone, some wood, some metal, arranged in rows like they were meant to be counted. I didn't touch them. I closed the door, locked it, logged it. The next night, the crate was gone, but the buttons were scattered across the floor, forming a shape I couldn't quite make out that I've tried to leave. I put in my notice 6 months ago, typed it up, left it in the office mailbox. The next day, it was back on my desk, unopened, with a note. You're needed. I drove to Pittsburgh one weekend, thinking I could start over, find another job, something normal. But the warehouse followed me. Not literally, but in the way my hands shook when I tried to fill out job applications, the way I woke up at 2 a.m., certain I heard the scrape of metal on concrete. I was back in Erie by Monday, walking the aisles, checking the locks. The warehouse doesn't let go easy that I think about Ray sometimes. Wonder where he went, if he's still out there, or if he's part of whatever's behind 42. I found his jacket in the break room last month, folded neatly on the couch, like he'd left it there on purpose. Inside the pocket was a key, one I didn't recognize, heavier than the others on my ring. It didn't fit any lock in the warehouse, not the gates, not the office, not 42. I keep it in my apartment now, in a drawer I don't open, but I feel it there, like it's watching me. The memos keep coming, one every few weeks, always the same. Maintain the locks. Log the rounds. Report nothing. I do what they say, not because I believe them, but because it's the only rhythm I know anymore. Lock, log, move on. The warehouse has a pattern, a pulse, and I'm part of it now, whether I want to be or not. I don't sleep much these days. When I do, I dream of doors, endless rows of them, all ajar, all leading to the same empty room with a wooden stool facing a blank wall. In the dreams, I sit on the stool, and something behind me breathes, slow and steady, waiting for me to turn around. I never do. Last week, a new memo came, different from the others. It wasn't typed, just a single line in red ink. Prepare for transfer. No explanation, no date. I don't know what it means, but the warehouse feels different since it arrived. The lights in aisle 7 don't flicker anymore. They stay off, even when I replace the bulbs. The air is colder, sharper, like it's carrying something new. I found footprints again, not just in front of 42, but in every aisle, small and bare, leading toward doors that don't exist. I don't log them. I don't take photos. I just close the doors, lock them, move on. Tim's replacement showed up yesterday. A woman named Sarah, early 20s, quiet, with eyes that linger too long on things she shouldn't notice. I trained her, showed her the rounds, told her the rules. She nodded, but I saw her pause in aisle 7, her flashlight beam catching the scratches on 42's padlock. I didn't say anything. I've learned by now, warnings don't work. Curiosity takes hold, and the warehouse does the rest. I wonder how long she'll last, how long before her name's in the logbook, written in red ink next to mine that I don't know what's in Unit 42 or what it's keeping out. I don't think it's about answers anymore. The warehouse isn't a place. It's a task, a weight, a rhythm you can't escape. I walk the aisles every night, check the locks, log the rounds, knowing they'll open again. I'm the caretaker now, bound to the keys, to the doors, to the thing that watches from behind them. I don't know if I'll ever leave, or if leaving means something worse. But I keep going, because someone has to. Because if I stop, the doors won't just open. They'll stay that way, and whatever's waiting will step through. The long watch, the months after the prepare for transfer memo were strange, even by the warehouse's standards. The air grew heavier, the smell sharper. Mildew and rust now mixed with something sweeter, like old flowers left to rot. The doors opened more often, not just in aisle 7, but across the warehouse. I'd find them ajar at the start of my shift, padlocks dangling, chains slack, as if someone had walked the aisles before me. I stopped counting how many I closed each night. It didn't matter. The number grew, and the warehouse seemed to hum with it, a low vibration I felt in my chest, like a heartbeat I couldn't place. Sarah lasted longer than I expected. 3 months, maybe 4. She was careful at first, sticking to the rounds, logging every door she checked. But I saw the signs, the way she lingered in aisle 7, the way her hands shook when she wrote in the logbook, the way she stopped talking about her plans to move to Buffalo. One night, I caught her standing in front of 42, her flashlight off, just staring at the door. I didn't say anything. I'd been there. I knew what it felt like, that pull, like the warehouse was whispering your name. She disappeared on a Tuesday. Her car was still in the lot, keys in the ignition, her jacket draped over the office chair. The logbook had a new entry, 42 checked. Empty. I burned that page too, the smoke curling up in spirals that reminded me of the dust patterns in front of 42. I didn't tell management. They wouldn't have cared. The memos kept coming, always the same, except for one that arrived a week after Sarah left. The transfer is complete. I don't know what it meant, but the warehouse felt quieter that night, like it had gotten what it wanted. I started noticing changes in myself. My hair's thinner now, gray at the temples, though I'm barely past 30. My hands ache when I grip the keys, and my reflection in the office window looks wrong. Older, hollow, like the warehouse is wearing me down to match its walls. I don't dream of doors anymore. Now it's just the stool, the empty room, and the breathing behind me, closer each time. I wake up gasping, my hands clutching the sheets, certain I've heard the scrape of metal on concrete. The warehouse has new rules now, ones I've learned without being told. Don't look at 42 for too long. Don't touch the scratches on the padlock. Don't listen to the whispers, even when they sound like your name. I follow them because I have to, because breaking them makes the doors open faster. I found a new unit last month, aisle 10, unit 19, marked restricted, in the same faded ink as 42. Its padlock is heavier, the chain tighter, but I see the scratches starting, faint but growing. I don't touch it. I don't log it. I just walk past, keeping my eyes on the floor. The logbook is heavier now, the pages thick with names, caretakers, all crossed out, except mine. I found a new entry last week, not in my handwriting. Lydia, caretaker. Transfer pending. I don't know who wrote it, or what transfer means. I don't want to know. I keep the keys on my belt, check the locks, log the rounds. The warehouse watches, waits, breathes. I'm part of it now, whether I chose it or not.